Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video I have an update for my Pan That Palette Roulette. If you have not seen the intro, I will link it in the cards if I remember to do that. So instead of picking one palette this year to try and completely use up, I am doing Pan That Palette Roulette. So I rotate through my palettes. There's no real rules to it. I'm just going with the flow, what I feel, and try to get as much use out of several palettes as I can this year instead of focusing on one and getting bored by it. Last month I introduced you to my palettes. I'm working on two. I have one that is already an existing palette, which is my Beauty Bay Midnight palette. And then I made one of my own with some singles that I've been working on. So I'm gonna show you my palettes and we're gonna talk through the usage. I did not really track it that greatly. Very sorry about that. But I do have a guesstimate of how much use I got out of these palettes. Yeah, we're just gonna talk about the palettes. So let's start with the Beauty Bay Midnight palette. This is what that palette looks like. I could show you the before clips. I don't think you'll see any difference, honestly, because my usage isn't that amazing. But this is a blue and purple palette. I mentioned in the intro that I wanted to focus more on these tones because I feel like I don't get enough use out of this palette to justify keeping it at this point. So I want to try and get more use out of it and really get a feel for if I want to keep this, yes or no. So for this first month, I managed to use all of these shades except for these two blues. I don't know what it is, but I feel like blues just look weird on me. I do not know how to pull them off. So the bottom row has a very light matte blue. I've used that twice. This one I did not use. The light matte lilac, I've used about 3 or 4 times. I really enjoyed that one. And I'm currently working for my project level up on my Colourpop in a Trance palette, which has also a few purples and blues and pinks. So it really works well together. So that one I've enjoyed. Then this row, this shade Gleam, honestly, I love this shade. It's such a good shade. It's a very nice, just all over the lid shimmer, but you can also put it in your inner corner. It's just very cute. I like it. This middle one did not touch. This darker blue, I do not like that. It comes off very dark and very blue, which is, I mean, you can expect that from a dark blue. I just don't know how to work it. So I've used that once. I think I tried to use it in my outer corner, and then I was like, I'm gonna do just a liner to be safe. And then this top row is kind of the same thing. They're all very dark shades and I've just been using them as liners. The purples stain a little bit, and this one looks like a dark shimmery purple, but it comes off so dark. I don't know what to do with it. Which is a shame because I really want to love this and create beautiful looks with it, but every time I do like a blue look, I feel like I'm back in like the 80s where it was okay to just put blue up until the eyebrow, which I'm not putting it up until my eyebrow. I don't really know. I feel like I cannot pull it off. But anyway, that's the use for this palette. I am gonna keep it in. I was debating on, you know, rolling it out, but I have to give myself more time with this palette. So we're just gonna keep it in, just for reference, for maybe if next month is gonna be amazing progress. I don't know. This is what it looks like right now. And then for the singles that I put into a palette myself, this is what we're looking like. I think the only real difference you're gonna be able to see is I re-hit pan in this shadow. I mentioned in my last update, or like the intro, I had pan in that palette, in that eyeshadow, and I dug my nail into it and it kind of went all over, so I pressed it in. So the pan was gone, but it is back again. I have been using this consistently, like every day I wear eyeshadow. I use this to set my primer. So I don't know if the pan has expanded that much, but you can see the dip. Like only this side here has a little bit of where the eyeshadow is as high as when it was new, and the rest is wearing down. Oh, by the way, these shadows are all from the Colourpop Nude Mood palette. This is a Nabla Singles shadow that came from the Dreamy palette. These are 2 Nabla Singles, and then these 4 are GlamShop. Anyway, so yeah, I've used that every single day. I want to say probably about like 15 to 20 times. The shadow right here, again, is Colourpop. I've used that about twice. I don't really love it. It's very, very glittery. And the best to apply is with your finger, and I don't love to do that. This shadow I've used so many times. It's currently still in my Pan Those eyeshadows. Yeah, I've used this most days as a transition shade, so if I have to guess, it's gonna be around 12 uses, 12 to 15 uses. This gold I've used twice. I'm wearing it today over another gold that I didn't really love. This one, again, I have to apply it with my finger, and I don't love to do that. So I don't really gravitate towards those shimmers. Then here, this is a GlamShop single. I've used this 3 or 4 times before hitting pan. It's a very easy all over the lid shadow. I've combined it with this one, which I've used about 2 times. Put this all over the lid and put this in the center to kind of brighten it up. Works really nicely. The shadow I've used honestly once. Don't really love it. It's slightly purpley red undertone, so I wasn't really feeling that this month. The shadow is crumbling. I don't know if you can see that. I'm missing chunks here. They are like all up in this palette, the chunks of eyeshadow. I've repressed this and did a bad job, so the shadow is just crumbling. I've used this about 10 times, really still like the shadow, but I'm debating on decluttering it and replacing it with another dark matte brown eyeshadow, because I have those in my collection. And then this blue shimmer I've used twice. It's okay. It's nice to combine with the Beauty Bay Midnight palette. It's very shimmery, very flaky, so a little bit difficult to work with, but honestly fine to use as like a lower lash line color, or something to tap on the center of the lid to give it a little bit more like a sparkle. Then this purple one I've used about 3 times, I want to say. Already had a pan. Like I said, I'm working on the Colourpop Inner Trans palette, and it really works nicely with those colors. So this shadow I've used once. I don't love it. It's very, very mauve-y. I just don't really gravitate towards these shadows, so I am going to leave it in, but it is on my list as a possible declutter. And then that one, like I said, I've used about twice. I am really enjoying this format. I feel less pressured to make progress, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like if I pick this palette up, the usage comes very naturally. And if I don't use it that day, then that's fine too. Whereas before with my Panda palette, I had this urge to like really always use it. And now I feel fine if I just leave it for a day or even a week and use other shadows. So I've been liking this format. Not really sure about the Midnight palette, but like I said, I'm gonna keep it in for another month, see how it goes, and you know, I might introduce another palette at some point. I might switch up some singles at some point, but that's all allowed if I can just, you know, keep using my eyeshadows and love it, because that's the most important thing for me, is that I don't start disliking having to use these shadows. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in one of my next videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.